This is Matoni.
Oh, hello.
Hi
Good
there.
to meet you.
Good to meet
Yeah.
you. Some kids at the last church I was at combined two puzzles. Oh, all right, we can do it.
All right, go ahead.
And so now we're trying to figure out how they
Okay.
go together.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
That was the point. How about you, Anna? You want to say something?
Would you like to see the beautiful puzzle? It looks great.
Okay. Teamwork, right?
Teamwork.
Okay. And Nuri, what is that? Can you explain?
Frog.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of a confusing frog because it's
Started here tonight, and we want to welcome Ruth, and we want to just really look at everything that she has to offer to us from Costa Rica and the work that she's doing there. And I thought maybe we could go around, since it's a small group, then introduce ourselves to you. Well, she's already on the list of.
we weren't supposed to eat.
Okay, I guess we've already done an introduction. We'll just let Ruth do her thing, share. Yeah.
We do have work teams that come to the university where I'm teaching, and usually what they're doing is construction projects. So that's hard, sweaty work, and you pretty much throw away the clothes after you use them. And that is one possibility. We did have a team, this was youth, but that doesn't make any difference. We had a team from, where am I just coming from? A team from Fremont who came down, and they didn't come to the university. I took them up to a small country church up in the mountains, where it was in fact very hot. And they did some painting and building and cleaning and stuff. Did a vacation Bible school with the kids, did English classes in the evening. Well, English conversation with people from the community who wanted to come in. It's one of the ways that they involve the community in the church. And that was a very powerful experience for them as well. So you can kind of be thinking about whether you want a church experience or whether you want a university experience. You would interact with the students at the university, but it wouldn't be the same as interacting with kids, Now, the university does in fact feed you very well. We have
I want a universal experience.
We've never been to a university, so.
But, and so there are different sorts of possibilities. You could also combine something with the university and also do something locally with the church. But obviously San Jose is a totally different experience than getting out into the countryside. So, those would be some of the things to be thinking about. Another thing that you could do is do a work study thing at the university. They offer that as well, that you can do some work, but also you can take some classes, special classes in English that would be for you, but would be things like something about Latin America, something about Latin American theology, which is a really fun, interesting thing to do if you're academically inclined. So you can kind of be considering some of those different possibilities, and we can adapt to kids, adults, old people, whoever. We actually get a lot of retired people who come and do heavy-duty construction work, and some of them are in their 70s and 80s, and there they are. One guy I went over, I was taking pictures, I was responsible for pictures at that time, and here's this guy who looks like he's about 90 years old, and he's up on the second floor on this ladder, way up there, painting. And please don't stop. And his team was upset with him and telling him not to do this, but he wanted to show that he could do it. And unfortunately, nothing happened. Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of different options. option of things to do, and it just depends on what your skills are and what your interests are, and we can adapt to whatever that is. Another possibility would be to go to Limon, which is on, well, I'll show you in just a moment, and that's an English-speaking part of the country, because those are all folks that have come over. Well, maybe you can see from here. This little tiny country here is Jamaica, and as you know, that used to belong to the British, and they had slaves there, and then the slaves were freed, and a lot of them came over to Costa Rica. Well, they came over to the whole Caribbean coast, to Central America, to work on the railroads, to work on the banana plantations, to work on the... But they were all English-speaking and Protestant. So the very first Baptist church in Costa Rica is not a missionary church, it's an immigrant church, and it's English-speaking. First Baptist church. And they are still very British. So the ushers wear all white, the women, and they wear white gloves. And the men at 95 degrees wear suits and ties, and the women wear hats. Oh, it's just awesome. It's so much fun. But anyway, so there's Costa Rica. So if you imagine, you know, a figure like of a really nice shaped woman with this slim waist and stuff coming down, Costa Rica would be the belly button. So you could just kind of keep in mind, you know, and that actually is significant because that is the migratory pattern of the birds. And so Costa Rica, little tiny Costa Rica there, has more species of birds than all of the US and Canada combined.
It's a beautiful place.
So that's one of the things that people go down for, is bird watching. So San Jose is up in the mountains, which is why it's 70, 75 degrees there. And you just choose your climate and your temperature by your altitude. So if you like it hot, you stay at the beach on either side of the coast, and you can just spend all your time in the ocean, and it's nice, warm water. It is not like a Minnesota water. Or if you like a little cooler, you just kind of work your way up on either side of the mountains, and you go up, and actually, I live by car 10 minutes away from the university, and it's about 5 degrees warmer where I live than at the university. That's how fast it changes. So if you get up into the mountains, if you go up to the volcanoes and stuff, you need a heavy jacket. All right, this is what I was telling my table, that traffic there is just horrible. I mean, there's an excess of pedestrians, so if you wipe out a few here and there, it doesn't matter. But actually the buses, I was really impressed. The buses actually stop for the passengers, which they do not do in the rest of Central America. You just have to kind of take a running leap and get on, or a running leap and get off. These stop for you, and if you look a little bit older or frail, they will sit there until you actually sit down. Can you imagine? It's just amazing. I was so impressed by that. Oh, and the other thing is people line up to get on the bus. The first time that I got on the bus, I was coming from El Salvador, and the bus came, and I just went up to get onto the bus, and somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Excuse me, there is a line here." Kind of civilized, you know. But the city's horrid, but you can get out of the city really fast. 20 minutes, you're out in these beautiful mountains. Now, this is the part that if you go out of the valley of San Jose, and you go up through the Braulio country where all the banana plantations are, and get to the Caribbean. So it's a beautiful ride. Take tourists is the Peace Waterfall Gardens. There's a path that goes along the river, and it goes past 7 waterfalls. There's a bus at the bottom. This is the Volcan Poás, which is one of the indented volcanoes. You know, we have some that go up like this and some that go down like this, and this one is semi-active. You can see it's got a lot of steam coming out of it. You can smell the sulfur when you're there. Every once in a while, they'll close the park that you can't go in because it's a little bit too active, but it's very fun to see. The woman with me there is Sue Haggerty, who is the other American Baptist missionary that works with me in Costa Rica. She works with women's groups, and she has she's very 13. So I am the official aunt. I am Aunt Ruth to Katie, and she comes and tells me things that she doesn't want her mom to know. So anyway, she goes through a boyfriend a week. She's very fun. I just love her to pieces, but she is a teenager.
So where does she go to school?
She goes to school at an international school there,
Oh, okay.
and they have kids from all over the world. And it's a really cool school, actually. That's where all of our missionary kids have gone. Marion Baker, it's called. So then you can go to the beach, but of course, if you're coming to work, you want to go to the beach. That's the Caribbean side.
Take
You want a day trip.
Work in the afternoon and go to the beach, and work in the morning and go to the beach after.
No, that's an all-day project.
Well, I guess we gotta work a few days before.
At the
we go to beach.
university, they always include in the package 1 day for a paseo, an excursion, and you can choose what you want to do. There are like 5 different options, and one option is the beach, one option is the waterfall gardens, one option is going through the tropical forest on the riverboat. I don't remember what they all are, but, and, yeah, and. Yeah. If you stay 2 weeks, then you get 2 of them. Anyway, so, now, we're going to the university. Now, I can't remember whether, when I was last here, was I at the university, or was I still doing curriculum development? Or maybe you don't remember either.
I thought you were just starting.
I was just starting,
Oh,
yeah, okay.
I know you talked about it.
Okay, all right, well, now I've
I
been
think
here
the
for
first
4
time you were
years.
here.
Okay, the first time I was in curriculum development, and then I was just making the switch. Okay, right. So this is the 90th anniversary of the university. There we are, that's the faculty there.
Well, it says University of
Latin American Biblical University.
Okay.
Yep. Universidad Bíblica Latinoamericana. If you're going to come down, you're going to have to be able to pronounce that in Spanish. The way you pronounce that in Spanish is UBL. UBL.
Oh, okay.
That's what everybody says, UBL. This was started by these folks, Susan and Harry Strachan. They came over from Scotland, assigned to the task of evangelizing Latin America for Christ. And they went to Argentina, and they very quickly realized they were quite intelligent people, that the 2 of them alone were not going to be able to reach the millions of people in Latin America. That was pretty clever, don't you think? It didn't take long to figure that one out. And so they thought, well, maybe what we need to do is train local evangelists. That would be a good way to do it. So they started traveling around Latin America to discover where would be the right place to set up this school to train evangelists. And then we got to Costa Rica, and there was no more argument about it, you know? I mean, here's this beautiful little paradise, why not? So they wrote back to the folks in Scotland, and the folks in Scotland disowned them. Said, no, we don't want to do that. So they went up to the U.S., to New York, and they met together with a group of committed Christians, and they formed Latin American Mission, which today is one of the strongest missions in Latin America. So they are the founders of this, and they are the founders of the Latin American Biblical University where I teach. See, I keep touching the wrong thing, that's what's wrong. And here is the very first faculty and first students. Aren't they fun? That was in 1923. And they trained all those women and sent them out as evangelists. And then the next year they let men in. But the first year was just women. And when we did this celebration of the 90th anniversary, the librarian